Hey guys, I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while, but unfortunately it didn't end up being made. But that's okay because now you'll be able to see my garden basically in its full glory. I've planted as many plants as are going to be planted there, probably. Welcome to my Plantventory. Clever. So here's my smaller back garden. It's got a couple perennial herbs which have come up year after year. The oregano, which is right here, the garlic chives and normal chives. Those are great on mashed potatoes. I've planted this rhubarb, and if you remember from my planting video, I had planted a smaller rhubarb plant right here, but unfortunately it didn't survive. I believe because there was a heat wave right after I planted it, and it just withered and died, unfortunately. These are some carrots that I seeded. They will need to be thinned out. I'll probably do a video about that, simply because thinning out is a very important process when you're growing root vegetables. This is a curry plant. You might think, oh, curry plant, that must be something to do with Indian curry. Well, actually no, because the curry spice that is used in Indian cooking is actually a spice blend. But this curry leaf, when you smell it, does smell somewhat like that curry spice blend. So if you're looking for maybe a very, very slight curry flavor, either with a rice dish or say a meat dish, you might want to throw some of those leaves in. This is a line of potatoes. I actually need to trim some of those leaves. They've already been trimmed once, but they've clearly gotten a little out of control again. At the corner here, I have lavender, which is always a good plant to plant with just anything else because it keeps away insects. There's a petunia because petunias are also good companion plants. And then I have a row of onions here. My lemon balm. It's a little bit of weeding to be done here. Some mint and then a marigold because again, marigolds are just good companion plants, somewhat like lavender in that they're just good anywhere in the garden. Over here is my greens garden, so I have some Batavian endive here. And then there is my kale. Both the Batavian endive and the kale are pretty much ready to harvest. And then right here are my two arugula lines, which you probably saw me plant in my Planting 101 video. They're doing quite well. And then lastly here we have the asparagus plants, which at the moment are quite small. They're not really producing any actual asparagus, although you can see a thin stalk of asparagus right here. But with every coming year, the asparagus will get thicker and then it will also spread to my garden, which is why I've left the rest of this garden area free of other plants, although you can see the weeds have really taken over. But I haven't put anything else here because I want to let the asparagus, hopefully in coming years, we'll have a good crop of asparagus. Here in my front garden, I have some red cabbage, some potatoes. This is a flower that I've put to attract bees. I'll probably make another video all about pollination and bees and why they're important in the garden. More cabbage. This is a broccoli plant that unfortunately has been eaten by some insects, so I'm not sure whether it's going to end up bearing any fruit, but who knows, it might take me by surprise. There is a cucumber plant right here. You can see there are quite a few flowers, so both open and closed. And all those flowers are areas where a cucumber is going to grow. There's another cucumber plant right here. Unfortunately, it has been shaded by my zucchini, so it's looking like it won't end up growing any cucumbers. So here are my 2 zucchini plants. They have some nice flowers on them. This is a dill. It's unfortunately been a bit crowded by the zucchini plant, but it's still going strong. A row of onions, and then some marigolds, which of course I plant marigolds all throughout my garden so that they can help discourage insects and small animals. Here's another broccoli plant, row of carrots, some more marigolds. That is thyme, golden thyme, and then this is chamomile. Another row of onions, some more cabbage, another row of potatoes, and this is another broccoli that unfortunately hasn't done too well since it's been attacked by insects. Back there is another zucchini plant, and then a squash, which I'm trying to grow along the trellis that I've put on its side. Another chamomile plant, as well as a rosemary, snow peas there climbing along my trellis, and then I've also planted some sugar snap peas, which will hopefully start getting larger soon. There's some radishes, sage. This cilantro has already flowered, has a very nice flower on it. This is an interesting plant called nasturtium. It's actually planted here because it's a companion plant, meaning that it helps other plants around it grow better, either by contributing certain nutrients to the soil or by keeping pests away. Here is one of my more successful broccoli plants. So I'm expecting it to start growing ahead soon. It's quite large, as you can see. This is a ground cherry plant. For those not familiar with this, it is a relative of the tomato plant, also of the tomatillo plant. You can see that these husks grow and they have a fruit in them that go from a green to a yellow, and once they are fully ripe, the husk will turn into a yellow-brown color and fall to the ground. Unfortunately, what that means is that small animals, such as chipmunks, are more likely to get to that ripe fruit than I am. So that has been my problem the last couple years, but I'm hoping that by being a little more vigilant, I'll be able to actually harvest some of my ground cherries. There is another ground cherry plant over here, and a marigold which has just gotten huge. Some onions, and then over here is a fennel, and it's on its own because fennel is not a good companion plant for anything, so it will actually stunt the growth of the plants around it. So that's why I've put some distance between it and my other plants. Here is some lemongrass. I love me some Thai cooking, so lemongrass is mandatory. Here's another ground cherry plant. This is anise hyssop. So this plant is also supposed to eventually attract bees and pollinators to my garden. Interesting story, actually. This plant was given to me by a fellow who sells hot sauces at the local farmer's market. He and I got to talking about my garden, and he decided that he wanted to help me out by giving me a plant to attract bees. Here I've got some Thai basil, also necessary for Thai and Vietnamese cooking. A tomato plant, another marigold. This is a pepper plant. Now, of my pepper plants, I do have both jalapeno and red pepper, but my markers that I had unfortunately got washed away. Well, the writing got washed away in the rain, so I'm not actually sure whether that will be a jalapeno or a red pepper. There's another tomato plant. Again, I have several tomato plants. Some are white rabbit cherry tomatoes, some are yellow perfection cherry tomatoes, some are Moskvich which is a large cultivar, and then some are Italian tomatoes, which are also a large tomato. And then I will show you that we do have a San Marzano tomato plant. Here's another broccoli, and this is actually kind of exciting. There's already a head. See, there's a small head forming. So that's really exciting. Here is a cucumber plant. As you can see, it's already spread itself out pretty well. Every so often I come out here and I place it where I want it to go so that it's not getting tangled up in other plants. You can see so this is the flower, and then this is actually the start of a cucumber. This is mint, which I'm eventually going to have to cut back because mint is invasive, so if you're not careful it can take over your whole garden. Some more tomato plants, and then in here I actually have some snow peas, again crawling up this trellis, but they got so large that they ended up crawling on my tomato plants that are on the other side of the trellis there, so that's kind of neat. You can see here there's some flowers on my tomato plants. Some more onions. This is another cucumber plant. Some radishes. Again, you can see here that they haven't really formed a bulb, which is surprising considering they're only supposed to take a month to mature, and these have been planted here probably for 3 months, so I think that's going to be a failure this year. Another marigold, some more carrots which need to be thinned out, and this is a row of beets which also need to be thinned out. This, if I remember correctly, is summer savory. Another nasturtium plant. Green beans, which, let's see, I did harvest some already, but you can still see some smaller green beans here. Another cucumber plant. Oh, potentially, no wait, this might be a squash actually. Sometimes I lose track of what's what. There's another broccoli. This big one is chervil. 2 more zucchini plants. Some more snow peas. And you can see here's one that's not quite ready to harvest yet. It's still quite small. And then some more flowers which will then provide the spot where the snow pea is going to grow. Another marigold. This is a different type of hyssop plant. I've also placed it here with the hopes that it will attract bees and pollinators. Here is another pepper plant, and this actually has some flowers, so that's really promising because peppers shouldn't be too far behind. Here's a lavender, and then here is my huge mass of tomato plants. There are some other plants amongst here, and I'll try to point them out. Here is some lovage. So this cherry tomato plant has quite a few flowers, so that's exciting. And then here's some small green cherry tomatoes. In here is some sweet basil. Basil and tomatoes are particularly good companion plants. This is bee balm, a plant that bees really like, and so far it does seem to have attracted bees. These are some edamame bean plants. That's a young edamame bean. Here's where the snow pea plant has climbed over the tomatoes. And let's see, so this is my San Marzano tomato plant, and let's see if I can find you some green tomatoes. They're definitely here. Quite a few green tomatoes there. There's some more in here. and then tons of flowers. So this is really promising since usually our tomato plants don't even start getting green tomatoes till August. So maybe we'll actually get a decent amount of red tomatoes this year. Here is some curly leaf parsley. We should definitely have some flat leaf parsley somewhere. It's probably lost amongst all these plants. And then here is another pepper plant. Lastly, I have some purple basil in here. So that completes my Plantventory. So hopefully that was a worthwhile video. I just wanted to show you the results of the planting video that I posted such a long time ago. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share if you have any friends you think will be interested in some gardening videos. And I'll see you guys later. Bye. Happy planting.